Hi everyone. I wanted to talk to you guys about Olivia Newton-John's death and how this is all tying into the Lion's Gate. It's actually tying into Greek mythology to do with the Muses and Apollo. Apollo is the sun god, and he is affiliated with the nine muses. And the nine muses is a role that Olivia played in the movie Xanadu. And I want to go into some of her life and what the whole role of the muse that she played, how is that in relation to the Pope's visit with Kateri Tikawitha. So yeah, it's all crazy because it's all tied together. So it's getting really bizarre. And one of the reasons it's so bizarre is because yesterday, because of the Lionsgate opening, I had posted on my Facebook all about the Scolion, which has to do with they're basically verses that the Greeks sang while they were playing the lyre. And this is how the Greeks used their poetry. Now, the reason that I posted it because of the Lion's Gate, first it has the word lion in it, and it's all tied to Apollo because Apollo, his musical instrument was the lyre. And then he ended up giving it to Orpheus, and then it also was given to Asclepius. Okay, so the lyre is really important, and it's the original lyre was actually a turtle. Okay, they used a turtle shell, and this ties into Kateri Tikawitha because her symbol is the turtle. Now, also because North America is known as the Turtle Island. Okay, so it's always tying back to the turtle, which is the Great Mother, but it's like the frequency of the Great Mother is tied to the lyre. Okay, so this is why I posted it for the Lion's Gate. But the fact that now, Olivia has her role that she played in Xanadu is also tied to the lyre. And it's also from an older movie from 1947, and I'll get into that. And they explain it in the plot how it's all tying to the muses. Okay, so it's like, whoa, it's like just repeat. We're just on repeat, right? But there's something really important about this Lion's Gate with her death, and I do believe with the Pope's visit. The other musical that she played in was Grease, and she played with John Travolta. And this is what he wrote on his Instagram. My dearest Olivia, you made all of our lives so much better. Your impact was incredible. I love you so much. We will see you down the road and we will be together again. Yours from the first moment I saw you and forever. Your Danny, your John. Now, that ties into one of the songs that was in the Grease movie that where they're singing. I'll show you the pictures at like an amusement park, and some of the lyrics are "We'll always be together." Okay, so it's really about your soul group that you're always going to come reincarnate back in, or you're going to find freedom with your tribe. Okay, so I'm going to show you how that's all played out in the movie, and the fact that he was named Danny ties to the original Xanadu movie. Okay, because the character in that movie was named Danny. So here's a clip of her wearing red and white when she meets him when he's with his guy friends, right? So she had a relationship with him on a holiday and he was all romantic and sweet, John Travolta, and then he turned out to be this like cool dude that didn't want to look like he was like attached to her, right? And he had all these mixed feelings. That's kind of the story line. And then she kind of has to win him over, and she has to become a little bit more like a rebel to win him over. And he has to become a little bit softer to win her over. So it's like they have to change their character to unite. Okay, but she's wearing the red and white for the rubedo, which is the colors for the final stage of alchemy. This is the scene when they're at the carnival and they're singing the song. You can go read the lyrics of the song. And this is her, how she's transformed. Okay, so there's like a transformation of herself to unite with him. So it's like the dark and the light have to unite. And here's a better view of the Ferris wheel. They have balloons flying up in the sky because some souls are going to float away around the Ferris wheel. If you're stuck on the karmic wheel, this is a tarot card. If you're stuck on that karmic wheel, you're not going to find freedom. You're just going around and around being a recycled soul because you can't see the illusion of the dark and light of this realm. Teresa sent me all this morning, this little clip of this, but it was in French actually. And what she's singing here is "Don't forget about the stars," and they point up to the stars. So you have to look at the stars. You have to understand Greek mythology to the sky. And that's how you learn how to see that this realm is an illusion. At one point, they get on the ride and they're going round and round on this ride. They have the six-pointed star here. Now, the six-pointed star is really the hex, right? So when you hex somebody, it's to do with a six-pointed star. And it's about not sharing. It's about kind of hidden and, you know, the hidden side of this realm. So it's also your Merkaba. So, you know, that there is a relationship between the pentagram and the six-pointed star. Okay, because they have to unite. The 5 and the 6 have to unite to become the 11, which is the two pillars of this realm. It's also your DNA, 5 and 6. It makes the DNA. Now, of course, they get in a car at the end. They have the Ferris wheel behind them, and it's a red car, of course. And then the car floats up into the sky. And she's like shocked and excited about it. The interior of the car is white, and they have the, you know, kind of white and black on the dash and the red there. So they're showing you again the white and red, and then you can see he has wings on his back as they float away up into the sky. And that's the chariot. That ties to the Phaethon mythology, and I'll do another video on all that. It's also tying to Helios. And, you know, the chariot, and that Phaethon is not able to control it, and he falls back to Earth. And he ends up being Cygnus constellation, which is the cross of Christ. So he gets sacrificed because he couldn't unite with the sun. The sun is your savior, okay? The sun is your savior. You have to take on the sun's energy and let the sun do its healing. Don't fear the sun. Try to get sunlight in the morning. In the afternoon and at sunset, okay? And you can get downloads of information when you connect with the sun. They do have this other song with what is it, Beauty School Dropout, and I think it's Frankie Valli is singing to her. And then there's like Greek mythology, you know, little cherubs floating around. So they're showing you, go back to school, learn your Greek mythology. The headline was also announcing the tributes to the Xanadu superstar. So they mentioned Xanadu. So whenever somebody dies, always read what the news is projecting about them, because they're giving you breadcrumbs of what you're supposed to be learning from their death, right? Some of the roles that they played, what they represent, you know, and how, you know, symbolic their whole life has been to help you awaken. Right, so Xanadu was definitely, you know, a theme on these news clips. Here's another one where George Techie, he's saying, Olivia Newton-John gone too soon from us at 73. I trust she is now in the great Xanadu beyond, because the Xanadu movie was all about ascending. Okay, it's in the older version is really more clearly that it's about ascending, about the muses, and I'll go into the older version of the movie. But it was with Gene Kelly, and it was a musical, so you have to go and watch it, and they show you it's about the muses. When I watched it, I was like, oh, it's about the muses. I knew. The 1980 film Xanadu, a fantasy musical revolving around terpsichore, inspiring an artist and a businessman to create a roller skating rink disco, stars Olivia Newton-John in his last film appearance of Gene Kelly. So they're showing terpsichore is the muse that she represented. And here are all the 9 muses, all the names of them. I am doing a course on the 9 muses and the significance of them all relating to the planets and to music and to frequency. Okay, so that's the later classes, probably more in December. So it's really getting to the core of what Greek mythology is trying to teach you about your soul's freedom. So here are some of the visuals on the Xanadu movie, and they're illuminated, and these are the 9 muses. There's other parts of the movie where they're floating up in the sky and they're zipping around, and like they're light beings. And this is Olivia at the end of the movie where she transcends. She becomes golden body, and this is her representing Terpsichore. Then she transforms into an 8-pointed star, which has to do with the cross-quarter days, right? That is this whole realm. It's 8. You're in the 8, and you're trying to get free from the 8. This is just recycling. It's the Ouroboros eating your own tail, right? And shedding your skin and then just coming back and not understanding why. It's all to do with just the sun's patterns in the sky, with the equinoxes, the solstices, and the cross-quarter days. There are 8 points. So at the end, she transcends and then jumps into another timeline and ends up being another character of herself with her boyfriend. So I'd never watched the movie full out. I just looked at it on YouTube. But here I was just to see like who the character's name was. His name is Sunny. So there you go, Apollo, Sunny. Her boyfriend. So eventually traces her across town to the aforementioned auditorium where she introduces herself as Kira. So she's playing Kira. The two of them fall in love, though Kira refuses to tell Sunny anything about herself. So Sunny also meets and befriends Danny. So there's Danny, the same name as John Travolta's role in Grease. A former big band orchestra leader turned construction mogul. The night before the club's opening, this is the roller skating rink, however, Kira confesses to Sunny that she's actually Terpsichore, one of the 9 muses of Olympus. She was sent to inspire the creation of Xanadu, but she cannot stay despite their mutual feelings. Sunny gets upset at the revelation, and Kira departs Earth having fulfilled her duty. Danny tells Sunny to keep pursuing Kira, encouraging Sunny not to give up on his ambitions like he did after his own muse left him. Sunny manages to enter Kira's home by roller skating into the muse's mural. So he goes into the veil, right? So he goes into this other realm. Inside the realm of the gods, Kira's father, Zeus, which is Jupiter, denies Sunny's plea to let Kira come back to Earth. And despite Kira's mother, Mnemosyne, that's all about memory, right? Interceding for Sunny and Kira, Zeus sends Sunny back to Earth. Kira professes her feelings to Sunny, and Zeus ultimately relents, allowing her to be with Sunny for a moment or maybe forever. Kira and the muses perform at Xanadu grand opening before returning to their realm. Sunny is initially saddened by their departure, but upon seeing a waitress who looks exactly like Kira, he stops her and asks to talk. So she turns into another person, but it's really her and looks like her. So it's like, it's the story of Ascension, right? It's like, there it is. The tradition portrays Terpsichore as the mother of the Sirens. So the Sirens are the women that have beautiful voices that lure you back into the depths of the sea. So, she's kind of like, ooh, that's not good. She's one of the muses that created the Sirens. So between following the Sirens and the muses, you always want to follow the muses because they're all about singing, poetry, dance, and the Sirens are about lust and kind of like hypnotic. They're hypnotizing you basically, and you just follow them because their sound is so hypnotizing. So it's like a frequency that is putting you to to sleep and just makes you do whatever they want you to do. There's a whole list here of where Terpsichore, the title book, is in Thunderstruck and other stories. She's also Terpsichore Station is the name of a mining facility in Star Wars novel. Terpsichore is the immortal parent of a Russian Jewish demigod. Also here, Terpsichore figures among her sisters in the Theologian. And she's also the editor of 9 books. Each book was named after a muse. Terpsichore was the name of the 5th book. So that's tying into Venus and the pentagram. And then, I didn't know this, an 1850 novel called David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. You know, that's crazy because we have that magician that disappears. And, you know, his name is David Copperfield. So this is all tied into Terpsichore. So I guess she has to do with disappearing. There's also an opera named after her. They used her in like a Battle of Santa Cruz in 1797, and also the whole bunch of streets in New Orleans are all named after the muses. This is the movie of the remake of Xanadu. It was called Down to Earth. And it was actually a sequel from Here Comes Mr. Jordan. So the Jordan, right? So anyhow, then it's Down to Earth. So these movies would be cool to watch. So this plot also has the name Danny, right? Now it's Danny Miller, is putting on a play which portrays the muses as man-crazy tarts fighting for the attention of a pair of Air Force pilots who crashed on Mount Parnassus. She asked permission from Mr. Jordan to go to Earth and fix the play. Jordan agrees and sends messenger 7013. Now it's weird because she died, Olivia Newton-John died when she was 73. So if you take the 1 times 73, you get 73. To keep an eye on her. So Terpsichore uses the name Kitty Pendleton and quickly gets an agent, Max Corkle, and a part in the show. As the play is being rehearsed, Kitty convinces Danny that his depiction of the muses is wrong. Danny, who has fallen madly in love with Kitty, soon agrees with her point of view and alters the play from a musical farce to a high-minded ballet in the style of Martha Graham. The revised play debuts on the road and is a complete flop. Danny, who is in debt to gangsters, who will kill him unless the show is a success, is forced to go back to the original concept. He and Kitty quarrel over this, and Kitty plans to leave when Jordan shows up and explains the situation. Despite her argument with Danny, Kitty still loves him and decides to save him at the expense of her and her sister's reputation. Overhearing the exchange, Corkle realizes that Jordan is the same heavenly messenger he had heard about some time ago when his friend Joe Pendleton had died and switched bodies. Corkle reveals that Joe, now living his life as K.O. Murdoch. Kitty returns to the musical and performs Swinging the Muses in Danny's original version. When the musical becomes a hit, Kitty learns her time on Earth is up and she must return to heaven. Despite her pleas to stay with Danny, she manages to convince Corkle to tell the police about the gangsters before finding herself becoming invisible to mortals. So she becomes invisible. So it's like she wears the helm of Hades, right? Though he cannot see her, Danny discovers her coat that she left behind and becomes devastated as her sudden departure. He recasts the Terpsichore role to chorus girl Georgia Evans, who hires Corkle as her new agent. In heaven, Jordan assures Kitty that she will see Danny again and grants her a vision of their eventual reunion in the afterlife. So I'm assuming the whole name Danny is all tied into the tribe of Dan. So the tribe of Dan is the tribe that disappears. So we know Apollo is affiliated with the lyre, but so is Terpsichore. Is usually depicted sitting down holding a lyre. Here she's standing up holding it, but you can also see here there's a symbol of the lyre in the middle of the muses. And this all goes back to the Pythagorean lyre. Now this lyre, which is made out of a turtle, and sometimes it's the shafts of this, what's holding the strings there, is actually goat horns. So I really believe this is like Mother Earth, which is the Taurus constellation. And because of that, it's tying into the whole thing about the Pleiades and the seven sisters, which were really nine. I've done a video on that before. So I'm really seeing that the Pleiades are the muses, right? I've mentioned that before. So this is how it's all tying into. And what happens, Venus, who is love, does these sun-earth conjunctions that makes the pentagram. So the sun and the earth is what activates you, right? And so that's why the Lion's Gate is so important, because it's all about the sun being in its own constellation, moving into Leo. And it's all to do with balancing those energies. And it has to come through Mother Earth. And there's a frequency on Mother Earth. And that frequency is mathematically synced to the lyre. Right? You can go into that, and I will go into that in my course and show you how it's all synced and how you can use it with your astrology wheel to help heal yourself. Okay, because you have to understand your natal chart so that you can figure out which notes are working with you and which ones aren't. Okay, there's a whole mathematical equation with the zodiac that helps you learn how to heal your body. Now, this lyre is known as the Elgin lyre. The word Elgin is derivative of Ireland from the Scottish translation of Ireland. So I knew the word Erin was the word for Ireland. And the second part of this is a phrase called Erin go brag, which means till the end of time. So Erin go brag is a Gaelic translation to Ireland to the end of time. Historians believe that the origin of this phrase dates back to the Irish Rebellion of 1798, when a group of Irish rebels staged an uprising to protest British rule. They were unsuccessful. The Brits fought and defeated them in battle. Before their fight, the rebels had put the expression Erin go brag on the banners and flags at their rallying cry. So yeah, so this is like, now it's translated to Ireland forever, but it's Ireland to the end of time. It's a reference to time. And I know Erin means peace. Okay, so there's that. But then there's the Erinese, which means like strife and hatred. So there's this duality again with the name, because you're angry because you're trying to fight for your freedom. But I just find it fascinating because it's relating to the end of time, because it's always about time, right? It's about being able to get out of time, to be free of time. And this is when it gets really weird, because Teresa sent me this. Olivia Newton-John bonded with ex-wife of her boyfriend, Patrick McDermott, who mysteriously vanished in 2005. So here he is here with a picture of her with him in 2001. And this is his ex-wife, and she wrote something about beautiful human has done for cancer research is beyond. Thanks to all of who not only helped me reach my goal, but surpassed it. And thanks, Olivia, for all you do. So this was something about end cancer, because Olivia has now met somebody that is in plant products that is helping with cancer patients. But this is her boyfriend, Patrick, ex-wife, before he disappeared. So this was his ex-wife, and then Olivia went with him, and then they got together when he disappeared, because his disappearance was so bizarre. Maybe he's Mr. Jordan, right? So he disappeared on a fishing trip on a boat called the Freedom. This was weird. His ex-wife, Natal, an actress whose roles include appearances on 21 Jump Street and RoboCop, posted on Instagram years later, "I'll never forget her calling me from the green room right after this, knowing how protective I was of my son's name constantly being put out there. She had no idea Larry was going to ask this." So I don't know what this is about because it makes no sense in the article at all. All of a sudden they put this paragraph in. So I don't know if you guys can figure it out. In 2012, Natal campaigned for Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos to stop selling a book promoting that McDermott was still alive. So there's like this conspiracy that he's still alive, that he faked his own death. He disappeared on the Freedom Boat. He disappeared on June 30th, 2005, with 22 other passengers and a crew member. He went on this boat, but somehow he disappeared. So his belongings, including car keys, passport, and wallet, were found on the boat, and his vehicle was recovered from the parking lot on July 6th, but it wasn't until July 11th that he was reported missing to authorities by his ex-wife. So yeah, it's like, yeah, so they say that this finds evidence of there's no criminal action, suicide, accident, or hoax in the appearance of McDermott. So he was just considered to be lost at sea. The mythology of the Sirens taking Ulysses, which is also Odysseus, from the boat. He tied himself to the boat, right? So there's this whole mythology of the Sirens taking you off your boat. So originally they were like bird women, but they've changed them now to being mermaids. So it's like the mermaids take you off your boat. And you have to block your ears so that you don't get hypnotized by their frequency and get taken to your death into the ocean. McDermott was on a boat called Freedom with 22 other passengers, and 22 is the tarot card for the Fool. It's the 22nd card, which is the Freedom card. To recap, Terpsichore, who is Olivia, the father of Terpsichore is Jupiter. And she is the mother of the Sirens that take somebody off a boat and make them go into the depths of the sea. So Olivia Newton-John married John Easterling in 2008 on top of a mountain in Peru during an Inca spiritual wedding ceremony. They returned to Florida and made their union legal with a beachfront wedding on Jupiter Island. Easterling founded Amazon Herb Company and formulated a special blend of cannabis called Olivia's Choice for his wife, who was also an advocate for plant medicines. I think she had breast cancer at one point in time, so I'm not sure if that's what she died of. But anyhow, it's the mythology that's tied around her, and all to do with the Nemosin, muses, and then the Sirens, and her boyfriend being lost at sea, and that's tied to the Sirens, and it's all tied to the liar and Takiri Tikawitha, the native that was sainted, that the Pope came to. She's tied to the turtle that's really tied to the lyre. So it's just getting weird. Okay, so this is all tying into the Champlain Lake, right? Because I mentioned that when I was doing the whole thing about Kateri Tikawitha. And then Terry sent me this, which is relating to the last supermoon of the year, which is called the Sturgeon Moon, on August 11th during the Lion's Gate. The sturgeons originally came from Lake Champlain, and these fish, grew to 350 pounds. They could live up to for 150 years. Okay, so like they're long living fish that, that the whole Pope going up to the Nunavut town up there, which was called Plenty of Fish. So I'm just like, So the Sturgeon Moon means you're long living, and it's relating to the natives because they fished Lake Champlain, and then they went up from Lake George up to the, it's now called the Richelieu River, but this was called the Iroquois River, to get up to the St. Lawrence. Okay? And there's a whole thing about the St. Lawrence as well. I'm just like, it's getting like mind-boggling for me that how this is all relating to where we're living, the names of the places, and what's happening in real time. It's like I really feel like we're living in Westworld. You guys got to go watch Westworld because it just feels like we're living in Westworld. So anyhow, I wanted to put that together for you guys. I did a quick one there. So bliss to you all. Take care. Bye.